the show. We got baseball, we got that NBA Heat and Lakers, as well as college football. There's Louisiana Tech and BYU going at it, and we'll have a lot of NFL picks and discussions. And so I won't let you know who's on the show today. So let's go ahead and take a look at our green room. We've got Jeff Jeter. We'll have some NASCAR talk. We got Ron Z. We got Goran, some Premier League. Chris will be joining us, Joe Duffy, as well as Brian Bittler. And we just want to recap the game for today. It was Miami and the Cubs, and it was the Miami Marlins getting great pitching again, and terrible Cubs hitting. 2-0. They advanced to face Atlanta, and of course it'll be the Dodgers will be playing the winner of the Padres and St. Louis in that bracket. And of course we still have one game left remaining there in the opening round, and that'll be tonight's contest between Padres and Cardinals. And of course it was Thursday Night Football with Denver outlasting the Jets in that one. Double-digit victory for Denver using a Melvin Gordon. Well, if you only could run like that with the Chargers, well, again, you're going up against the Jets defense. All right, let's get the show started. We're going to go ahead and welcome into the show Joe Duffy, and you can find Joe Duffy over at the Pick Dogs Premium site. Joe, how you doing? And of course, we just finished watching the Cubs go down, one run in both games.
Yeah, and it was nice to see the under there. You know, I always want to get that prestigious Paul Lynde spot. W marks the square. One of these days, I can get the Paul Lynde spot on that in the green room.
Absolutely. We'll try to get you that spot there. And of course, did you catch much of that Jet game where you were pretty much watching baseball last night?
Well, no, actually, in the middle, I was at my daughter's softball doubleheader, and I had the under. So by the time I got home, I wound up not wanting to watch the rest of it. It was pretty ugly. Unfortunately, I had the under. I'm not a big Sam Darnold fan. I know he had that incredible 58-yard run early on, and I'm glad for him. You never want to see a guy get hurt. To be honest with you, if I'm a Jets fan short term, I think they would have been better off with Joe Flacco. But yeah, the whole future of the team depends on me being wrong about Sam Darnold, essentially. But like I said, by the time I got home from my daughter's softball, I'm like, I have no need to watch the rest of this garbage.
I think looking here at the next round, that Rays-Yankees series seems intriguing. Of course, the Yankees pretty much outscoring. Pitching has something in doubt here, but Tampa Bay got the job done against that upstart Toronto team.
Yeah, Tampa Bay's a team that could pull off the upset. Obviously, the Yankees are pretty much loaded, but it could turn out to be quite an interesting series after. I know, the short series is where you sometimes look for those upsets, those 3-game series. But, yeah, that's probably the best matchup, certainly, of this, the second round, or whatever they're going to call this round, the league championships or whatever it's being called, probably the most intriguing matchup.
Yeah, ALDS, and of course the Dodgers get past the Brewers. Kershaw, I know people kept flashing his postseason ERA, but he never faced an 8 seed, and this is the difference here.
Right, and Kershaw has gotten a little bit better. Yeah, I used to call him Clayton Manning or Peyton Kershaw. I used to say, those were two of the superstars that once the postseason comes along, you'd want to go against them, and obviously David Price kind of had that as well. But all in all, I don't think there's, maybe it's a little bit of an outlier. As you kind of said, you're facing the best hitting teams in the postseason. So I think that's one of the reasons why Kershaw has struggled. But I don't think there's a manager in baseball who wouldn't love to give the ball to Clayton Kershaw in a big playoff game, despite the fact that his numbers in the postseason are certainly not Hall of Fame numbers.
No, can't argue that. Okay, speaking of Hall of Fame, we got Joe Duffy. It's been around a long time. It's really very excellent handicapper in the NFL. And you're looking here, Joe, at a game between Minnesota and Houston. This on-again, off-again, on-again game. We've got Houston favored 3.5. Total sits here at 53.5.
Yeah, and, a lot of people think that hook is so important. I looked it up. The difference between 3 and 3.5 as far as winning percentage is a little bit less than some people think, but it still does make a difference of a little bit more than 1%. This is the first time that Houston has been placed as a favorite all year. And when you have a favorite that is usually in the underdog role going against such teams, it's 153, 93, and 12, including 18 and 4 the last 22. Now, that being said, they've had probably the toughest first 3 games of any team in the league, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. But that theory is being based on that, look, this is one of their easiest games of the year. So that this situation does apply. I don't think that you completely disregard the situation, even though they've been playing, three very tough teams, because look, that's what happens. This is the weakest opponent that they faced all year, and that's what the system says, is go against teams in situations like this. I talked about the Delta point statistic, that the most disappointing team based on Delta points allowed, and Delta points is basically the number of points that you're expected to give up based on what the total is and what the line is, the implied number of points you would give up, or score as the case may be, but in this point, give up. The more disappointing defense based on that stat is 331, 244, and 14. That would also favor Minnesota. Also, winless teams that blew an 8-point or more lead the previous week, a very solid 49, 24, and 1. The Vikings led 24-12 at one point last week against the Titans. And we talked about that before. I think we were alluding to the Falcons, that a lot of people might assume when a team blows a big lead that there's going to be a letdown the next week. Not in the NFL. Our database is able to look up teams that blow leads. And again, do not assume that a team that blows a big lead in the NFL is automatically going to have a big letdown the next week, because the computer says that assumption is actually false. Fading very bad teams, that is at least based on winning percentage, that are favorites, is a good play. 153, 108, and 8. Some people are wondering about whether the Vikings, maybe it'll be a little bit of a distraction because, of course, they had to do all those COVID tests this week, that they had legitimate reason to think maybe some of the players did because they played the Tennessee Titans. I find at the NFL level, if anything, that adversity is something they're more likely to rally around than rally on. Now, they are going to be without their cornerback, Mike Hughes, which is a little bit of a loss, but still, all in all, I do like Minnesota. Also, my game simulators, one of them has a slight lean towards the Vikings covering 52% of the time, as a 3-point game is projected. Another one has Minnesota covering 57.3% of the time. And my favorite power ratings has Minnesota, says Minnesota should be laying 1.5, projected win by 2. So this is one where even my three top projections / power ratings either are leaning towards Minnesota or saying definitely go with Minnesota. And my computer systems are saying going with Minnesota. And none of the stuff that I like to say, the organic handicapping, would say otherwise. And again, I'm not any potential distractions because of the COVID. I throw that out the window, and like I said, it might be something to rally around. So I do think that Minnesota possibly picks up their first win of the year, but they certainly get the cover here.
Joe, I have a question for you. When you're looking here early in the season, and you've got 0-2, 0-3 teams facing off, how do you factor in strength of schedule? Not every 0-2 and 0-3 team is faced a difficult competition like Houston. Houston's faced a really tough schedule to start the year.
Right, and that's exactly what we mentioned, that there is reasons for that. I do like to use the StatFox strengths of schedule. I think that's one of the better ones, and obviously all three of my power ratings take into consideration the strength of schedule. But still, all in all, I think there's a little bit of truth. It's not etched in stone truth. I think it was Bill Parcells who said what your record says that you are. Still, you got to win the tough game. So strength of schedule is very much taken into consideration in those power ratings. And I also, StatFox is not one, I don't think their simulator is quite as good, although their power ratings are pretty good. But yeah, that I do take that into consideration, but I think it's also taken into consideration in all the computer software I use.
That's right. Of course, with Houston Texans, no DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, Minnesota, young defense that has been exploited this season. Yeah,
and Hopkins, he's certainly, one of the best wide receivers in the league. And now, we gotta wonder that even with Deshaun Watson, look, he's a very talented quarterback. He's young, but you never know. Quarterbacks are so tough to predict. And when you have a quarterback that's underachieving, if anything, maybe this is a good time to fade him until he gets a little bit of his confidence back. Still, all in all, I would rate him among the better players in the game. And and we talked about Minnesota also with a key injury on offense. But the Hopkins injury is devastating.
All right, here joined by Joe Duffy here on the Drive-Thru. Joe, we see over at Pick Dogs, fantastic work in the NFL, college football for years. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Yeah, we got to get a little better this year in the NFL, which the good news is now's the time to jump on because we are going to get better in the NFL. It's been a solid college football year. For tonight, I even have I've been paying a lot more attention. My computer software always has list the football championship football. So I have an FCS winner, and then I've got the side and the total for the main game tonight, Louisiana Tech and BYU. And it's very rare where I have a side and total in the same game, but you're going to love the systems. One of them has to do with a very important short week system with a very high winning percentage. So we got a lot of football tonight, despite there being only 2 games, one regular rotation, one added rotation game.
All right, that was Joe Duffy here on our show. Joe, it's always great having your show. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games, and we will talk with you next week.
Yeah, we're going to get back at him in the NFL. We'll talk to you, Tony, next week.
You got it. All right, our buddy Joe Duffy here on the drive-thru. All right, guys, still a lot more coming. We got NFL picks we're going to cover. I know a lot of there's been discussion here with the NBA game, Heat and Lakers. We'll be getting to that. We'll also cover and have a pick on the Cardinals-Padres game, which will be in prime time. We've got Virginia-Clemson, and of course, we're going to look at that Louisiana Tech and BYU game as well. So let's continue here on the drive-thru, and I'm going to bring in one of the puck dogs. You'll hear him at 10:30 a.m. in the morning in the morning show with Mitch, Chris Ruffalo. Chris, how you doing? I want to bring you in here for this discussion for this Lakers and Heat game, which tips off at 6 Eastern time. We're seeing the line movement here up to 10.5 in some places. We know the injury issue here with Dragic and Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's almost like just when you think things are going right for the Heat, and they reach their first final since 2014, they get a chance to do it with against the guy who got them there the last time, and in game 1 they lose Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, and there was Jimmy Butler had an ankle issue. But you know what? We mentioned it on the morning show this morning, and this is it's a resilient Heat team. They're very well coached, and one game with a couple of injuries, albeit to key players, is not going to slow down or take away from what Eric Spoelstra is going to do on a daily basis. This Heat team is very well coached. They have a lot of role players that don't play like role players. They play like guys that would all of them could contend for 6th man of the year and have a starting role on most NBA squads. And it's going to be a good game. And I don't think the Lakers, in a blowout, it's just a foregone conclusion. I think that the Heat can hold their own, and if the buckets start falling, which they weren't for the Heat in game 1, this could be a game to watch out for. The Heat know their game, they know their strength, and they know that they can hit outsides when the outside shots are falling. They're as good as any team in the NBA.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of looking at the over in this game because I do believe that the Heat will definitely be looking at the 3-point shots. Now, Adebayo, when you look at his defensive rating, number 1 on the Heat, so if the Heat's going to take a hit defensively without Adebayo, of course, we know the Lakers they're very good around the bucket. But I definitely see a potential for a high-scoring game without Adebayo in the game. Of course, the guards will have a little easier for the Laker guards without Dragic in that lineup there, pressuring them. So I do see a lot more three, especially with Olenek. Olenek, I think, averages almost 10 3-point shots per 100 possessions. So there's going to be a lot more 3-point shooting here for the Heat without Adebayo on the court.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you might see a season high for the Heat in terms of 3-point attempts tonight. I think that's going to be their key to victory here is they're not going to have as much of an inside presence, and I honestly think as well you're going to see the Lakers have a season high for points in the paint. I think that's where they're going to do their damage tonight. They're going to drive, and the key to this one I think for Miami is, once again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but it's going to be trading 2s for 3s and winning out in that department, because you can go inside and then you have a lot of shifty guard play that can slice and dice their way through the middle. But at the end of the day, you still got Anthony Davis inside. You still got a pair of tall centers in JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Depending on who sees the court, it doesn't really matter. These are tall guys and tall guys that you're going to have to get around of if you're going to want to bull your way in the paint. And I just think that the best course of action for Miami tonight is going to be keeping it on the perimeter and not trying to sort of go through the trees in the middle.
All right, today joined by Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-thru, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We give you a bunch of free picks here from the games in prime time, and of course we'll dip into Saturday, Sunday for our Friday show with football. All right, Chris, you're going to look at an SEC game at 7:30 Eastern time. Auburn and Georgia, a really good matchup here with Georgia anywhere from a 7 to 7.5 point favorite. Total low at 44.5. You got two SEC schools going at it, two defensive-minded clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Georgia, I've mentioned it before. I've got family about a half hour away from Sanford Stadium, and I've been to that stadium a bunch of times. I've been in that environment, and watching Georgia, this it just feels different about this year's Georgia team, and I wish I could say it's in a good way, but it doesn't feel that way. You know, you got JT Daniels, who I thought was going to be good to go last game, and he was a scratch. So you turn to either Stetson Bennett or the other quarterback Mathis, and you know Mathis didn't really do well in the start. Bennett went on to have one of the better games of his collegiate career, but again, you know, there's still a lot of uncertainty at quarterback. I don't know if Bennett can do it 2 games in a row, but that's besides the point. Apparently, JT Daniels is good to go for this one. I'm just it's a little bit alarming how long it took Georgia to kind of get their wheels going against Arkansas. And you know, as far as Auburn goes, Auburn, you know, they did what they normally do, like just to kind of slow the pace down a little bit. You know, play a strong ground game, like to take it to you defensively. And this is a defense that, you know, it is retooling with the loss of guys like Isaiah Simmons to the draft last year. But, you know, this is still a solid Auburn defense. And, you know, if you look at the history between these two teams, I mean, it's not like they're lighting up the scoreboard. You had 6 of the last 7 games finish under 45 points. So I expect this game to be a war just like anything else. I see something along the lines of 23-20 or 2017, no matter which way you slice it. I think this is going to be a close game that comes down to who has the ball last. I'm going to take the under here. I think this is going to be a battle and a struggle.
Yeah, Chris Ruffalo says go ahead and take the under in this game. Just looking here at something with Georgia, I was kind of looking at that as a low-scoring game as well. The Bulldogs' rushing attack, only 2.9 yards at carry. They had struggles with their quarterback position. JT Daniels, a USC transfer, will be available, but, you know, he's coming off that issue with his knee. Of course, Bo Mix, you know, you don't know what you're going to get sometimes with him because he's not the most accurate quarterback at times. But of course, now he's facing against a good defense, and this definitely looks like a really, as a makings here of a low-scoring game, as you said. But getting back to this Georgia team, they got to find a ground game if they want to have success in the SEC.
Well, I mean, they still have a couple solid backs. You know, Mitch and I've talked about. You got Dalvin Cook's younger brother, James Cook. You've got Zamir White still there. And, you know, Kirby Smart always finds a way to get the most out of his offense, even if last week it took him, you know, about 35 minutes to figure out that, wait, I got to flip a switch to be able to do that. And, you know, I kind of want to know what he said in that locker room to sort of get Georgia's act together. But, you know, this is still a talented offensive team. You know, they still have talented receivers in that receiving core. It just, for whatever reason, the quarterback play, you know, I think losing Jamie Newman to the COVID opt-outs, it's going to be a big part of determining Georgia's success this season, and it's going to be a big sort of criticism of what could have been if he ended up staying in the rotation, if he ended up staying to play. But again, it's coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hindsight's always going to be 20/20, and you know Georgia's still going to be a solid team this season, regardless of what happens. It's just a matter of, you know, we can't necessarily overreact after one game. The problem is it's hard not to because there are so many eyes that are going to be on this game because it's Georgia Auburn in week 2 of the SEC schedule. So going from what I've seen so far, I think Georgia's offense is going to be all right. It's just hard to sort of affirmatively say that with such a strong opponent in week 2.
All right, it's Chris Ruffalo here. Joining us on the drive-thru, looking at Auburn and Georgia under the total of 44.5. Chris, we've seen you have a really good season in the NBA. As we hit the bottom of the hour, what do you have going on right now at Pig Dogs Premium?
I decided to put up another number 3 combo for everybody who loves stopping through the drive-thru. It's going to be a top side and total in the college football game tonight, as well as top play in the NBA, the game we talked about at the start of the segment. But I can't stress enough to anybody. I mean, I know we talk about it on the morning show a lot. If you guys find a capper that you connect with, you know, don't be afraid to take a dip into one of those longer term packages. I mean, you're going to get more bang for your buck. Like for me personally, I've got my 3-day package. It's going to cover you from Saturday all the way up to Monday night. You're going to get all the college, all the NFL football, as well as some baseball thrown in there. I mean, I even lowered my rest of my playoff package for baseball down to $99. It's going to be for 3 weeks till the end of the month. You're going to get all the baseball. We've been killing it to start the baseball season. But again, like if you find a capper that you like and it's going well for you, by all means, you know, you're going to save more money. You're going to get more bang for your buck down the road, and I promise you guys won't regret it, no matter who you choose.
All right, guys, so check out Chris Ruffalo over at Pig Dogs and pick up one of those long-term packages. That's your best value there on the board right now as we're getting right into the thick of college football season. Not too far away from the Big Ten and the Pac-12 starting football. We got to cover that practices. I know we have maybe about 30 or so games, but boy, then it starts to fill up fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look and it's you close your eyes, you open them again, and next thing you know, college basketball starting November 25th, and it's like, you know, we're gonna have a couple slow weeks. We've talked about that, all of us, off the air, on the air, whatever. But we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be back to normal at the end of November. We're gonna all be happy. We're gonna have college hoops to watch. We're gonna have some great college football, and then everything, and then the pro sports are gonna start up in the new year. We're gonna be just fine.
We certainly will. All right, Chris, it's always great having your show. Have a great weekend. We'll be listening to you tomorrow with Mitch and the company at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, breaking down all the action for Saturday.
Absolutely, Tony. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
All right, everybody. Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-thru. Guys, as we reach the bottom of the hour, still a lot more picks coming. We're going to cover that Cardinals and Padres game. We also have a lot of college football on the show today, and we're going to also touch base on college football game right now. Let's take a look at this Arkansas and Mississippi State game. And I'm going to go ahead and take the points with Arkansas plus 17. Now, this is an experienced Razorbacks team. They do get the grad transfer, Felipe Franks, under center. Did throw for 200 yards against Georgia's defense last week. And we know Mississippi State coming off that upset win against that rebuilding LSU team. But they did give up 345 yards passing. And I think we could see a bit of a letdown in this spot. I will go ahead and take the 17 in this one, as I'll take the Arkansas plus 17. All right, continuing here on the drive-thru. And it's time now to bring in one of the puck dogs. You listen to him at 10:30 a.m. in the morning with Chris, Brian Bittler, and Mitch. It's Rod Zawacki. Rod, how you doing? Of course, so how did that Cubs and Marlins game go for you?
Well, it went great for me. I was on the Marlins, so bye-bye Cubs.
Yeah, I know. Bye-bye Cubs. So, and, it's just a lot of pitching from the young Marlins. I'll tell you, not only do they pitch, they hit their spots today, but, man, they throw some heat at their batters.
Oh, yeah, Sixto was definitely dealing the heat today, that's for sure. But was it more of the Cubs bats decided to go ice cold? I mean, we talked about this in the morning show. This 3 games feels like you're getting cheated. Best of 3. I would rather it be a best of 5, I think. A little better. But this best of 3 is kind of cheesy to me.
I know.
I guess it's better than a 1-1. I guess it's better than a win 1 and you're out. So
that's true.
You got a little bit of a chance, but I think a best of 5 would have been better in this spot for.
Yeah. It
for
would have
baseball.
been nice. It would have been nice. They wanted to get out and for that. I was just looking here. Adebayo is out for the Heat, and Dragic is doubtful. So that's the latest upward on both injuries in this Heat game. I don't see Dragic playing this game. I can't see.
No, I don't think. I don't. Those 2 guys are probably not playing this game.
No. That's going to definitely impact the Miami Heat. All right, this is the game a lot of the people in the chat room have been talking about. And I've got my interest because I really like this series. I hate to see it go. This is one I'd like to see go 5. St. Louis, Flaherty, and the Padres are listing Stammen, which I think it's going to be a bullpen game. We may see Garrett Richards in there. There's a lot of options here for the Padres. Padres are now favored. Now we've seen this move anywhere from it was open around $1.20, now up to about $1.35, $1.40 in some places. Total was 9.5, now back down to 9.
Yeah, back down to 9 here, eh? So
yeah.
For me in this one, Flaherty has definitely not been the Flaherty we know. His last 3 starts, he's given up 3 runs or more in 2 of those starts. If you look at the Cards scoring just in this series alone, they've scored more than 7 runs in the first 2 games. Game 1, they scored 7. Last night, they scored 9. And then now the Padres are starting Stammen with a 5.4 ERA. He's going to start. How long is he going to pitch? I'm going to say maybe an inning, 2 innings, if that. And then like you said, Richards will probably come in, and how well. It's scary for me. I think it's almost like the first team to score 10 wins. So I'm definitely taking the over 9 here. I think we fly over the total in this game.
All right, Rod says take it over the total. Now, just to note, the start time will be 7 o'clock Pacific time, so there will be no shadows around home plate, maybe even the lights on, a little dark. Remember, this was an afternoon series, but because of all the eliminations, they moved this to the late game, so that means no shadows around home plate, so they should have pretty good vision on those balls coming in for both teams, both offenses.
Well, yeah, exactly, and they'll probably be able to crush that.
Yeah.
Crush the ball coming in with who's pitching.
Yep. And of course, as always, guys, remember the DH is in play. In case you want to know, there's the pitchers are not hitting here, so that's another benefit you have. Because remember, when you see the rallies, especially in the National League, when you're betting those overs and you say, "Oh God, we're in the 8th, we're in the 9th, we see 2 runners on." Forget it. The pitcher's coming up, but you got
the pitcher's
chances
coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that always a rally killer?
Yeah. Well, it depends because you got the odd one or two pitchers that are around there that can actually hit the ball. So you're like, maybe he can get a lucky hit, but. You've seen a pitcher actually get a hit once in a while to do big runs. I actually like the pitcher pitch it, like hitting the ball. I miss the pitcher having to hit.
Yep.
I like that added part of baseball.
Yeah, we're gonna get that over 9 runs. Over 9 runs now is the line, not 9.5. We've seen the change since the banner was created, but that looks like the spot there. And the winner in this series plays the Dodgers, so that would be interesting to see how the Padres and Dodgers would match up in this one, because St. Louis has had the Dodgers number.
Oh, they have, like, big time, right? Yeah. Padres Dodgers would be a good series. It's tough that the Padres are missing 2 pitchers. That would be key to be help them in a longer run here. That we wouldn't be seeing a bullpen game here from them. It's tough. Injuries got them here at the end. They had a good year, and I think the injury bug's gonna bite them here.
On the other side,
I like the Cardinals.
You like the Cardinals. On the other side, we see the Braves and the Marlins. This is an interesting one here with the Marlins pitching against the Braves. The Braves is a team that can hit, but they didn't score a lot of runs till game 2 in that one inning where they pushed across 4. Remember, they went scoreless there. So we'll see how the Braves hit this Marlins pitching.
That'll be definitely a good series. I'm excited to see that. I think before with the whole COVID thing, I think I had Braves and Jays as my World Series. So my one half is still there. Go Braves.
All right. The Braves are still there, and that's a series that will start next week. Of course, they don't want to go against some of these series start Tuesday and Wednesday. They don't want to go against football, so there's a lot of break in between here for these teams.
There is, yeah, good break. Some of these teams that have some injuries will get some rest and maybe get some of them guys back. You get a little rest and kick off the week with baseball going.
And if you like betting unders, and you're guaranteed in those games 1 ace versus ace, right? Ace versus ace.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we've seen, right? We've seen all these unders come in with the aces going versus the ace pitchers, and we've seen the unders. So
we've seen that. Of course, unless it's the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees just seem to be.
Well, yeah, unless it's the Yankees. Ole. I definitely got burnt on one of those.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I know it was. They're hitting the ball, and keep an eye on that Yankees team. All right, Rod. We see over at Pig Dogs Premium as we approach the top of the hour. What do you have going on at Pig Dogs?
For me, I've got 3 play left. I have 2 for tonight and 1 for college football early morning game. So I've got a play on tonight's college football and tonight's NBA available, and early morning college football.
Early morning college football. All right, guys, check out Rod Zawacki over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of those packages, or go for the long term. Click and go down to the profile page and find one of those long term packages and pick it up right now from Rod Zawacki. And of course, he's on in the morning with Mitch, Chris, and of course Brian Bitler with the morning show. So you got a big show for tomorrow, getting ready for college football. As always, Rod, thanks for joining us. Have a great night, and we'll watch you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you too, Tony. Glad to be here. Everybody have yourself a wonderful weekend.
All right. Our buddy Rod Zawacki here on the drive-thru. Guys, as we approach the top of the hour, still a lot more picks coming up. We've got some college football to cover as well. We'll get to that Louisiana Tech BYU game and more here on the drive-thru. I'm Tony T, and we're here Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, don't forget to smash that like button. Help build our audience. We greatly appreciate that. All right. I'm going to take a look here at this Oklahoma-Iowa State game going off tomorrow. And I'm going to take the points here with Iowa State at +7. The Cyclones showed some offensive improvement in that second game this season, winning at TCU 37-34. They're getting good work they got good work in that game from Brock Purdy and ran the football effectively. So that was pretty good. Of course, Oklahoma, they dropped that 38-35 home decision to Kansas State. When I saw that all the scoring here by K-State, it just reminded me about that Sooner team from last year where they'd get up early, and for some reason they would fade and they would, the defense would give up a lot of points. The offense shut down, and that's what we're seeing from this Oklahoma team. I'm concerned about their pass defense. That final 16 minutes getting outscored by 24. But you know what? I'd rather take the 7 here. When you look at the coaching angles here with Campbell, while at Iowa State's covered 18 of 27 as a dog. And, of course, the Iowa State's been a good in October, covering 13 of 15. And don't forget, next week, it's the Red River rivalry game for Oklahoma facing Texas. So Oklahoma has a rival next week. So in that one, give me the points in that one between Iowa State and Oklahoma. All right, continuing here on the drive-through, we're going to go ahead and welcome to the show our buddy Brian Bittler. Brian, how you doing today? How did that baseball game go for you?
It went well for me. Had the under in that game, and that number, man, that was one of the easiest unders I think I've had all year. Definitely enjoy seeing the Marlins win.
Yeah, that was a good one to see the Marlins get the victory there. Now, how do you like their chances as they go up against the ATL, the Braves, the next series?
You know what? I can't put anything past the Marlins. They've surprised me all season, but the Braves definitely have a really superb bullpen, and their hitters, great young hitters. So, I like the Braves in that one, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll definitely see how that one goes. All right, Brian, you're going to take a look here at this ACC battle in primetime, Virginia and Clemson. Looks like Clemson's laying 28.5. Last time we saw these teams play, they just pounded Virginia in the ACC title game. But this is a different Virginia team. They're really experienced, got some all 5 O linemen back. How do you see this one?
I believe I took a loss in that ACC championship game, and you know what? Who also took the loss, the Virginia Cavaliers, and I believe that left a really sour taste in their mouth. They've probably had this rematch circled with Clemson for a while now. Clemson has a huge game with Miami on deck, so maybe a possible little bit of a look ahead here. Virginia is also 12-4 last 16 against teams with winning records. I think Virginia does just enough to cover that spread against Clemson.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. And the one thing I also looked at in this game is I like the over, because when you look at how many points Clemson have scored, the total's 55. They can put up points. I think they've got definitely the speed advantage against Virginia, but I think Virginia can get a few there on the board. But the total 55 in this one.
It wouldn't shock me if it was 55 to 35 Clemson with the win. I could easily see them put up a bunch of points. And Virginia, I definitely could see them doing 4 touchdowns in this game, maybe add in a field goal. So, yeah, I would lean to the over in this one.
All right, Brian Bittler here joining us here on the drive-thru. Brian, we'll get your thoughts here on this Heat-Lakers game. This series took a different turn here with his injuries on the Miami side. Some of the guys are kind of leaning at taking the points, thinking that the Heat will launch a bunch of threes. I think there may be a lot of points scored in the game. I'm kind of leaning that one over myself, because I think they will increase their three-point shots. The Lakers have a little easier time around the bucket. How do you see that one?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give your listeners an exclusive here. It's a premium play for me, but I absolutely love the Miami Heat tonight. Wouldn't be afraid to sprinkle a little bit on the money line either. Sometimes when there's a big injury, bettors love to go, especially also coming off of a beatdown. Lakers absolutely kicked the butts of the Heat, So that got bettors on the Lakers. Now add to that injuries. So I think you're getting value with a Heat team that's very well coached, and I think Spoelstra will have a plan to keep this game close. I think it's a 5 to 6 point game for the Lakers.
All right, so says Brian Bittler, and I again argue that, and one thing I've noticed with this Laker team is that the supporting cast not consistent. I don't know if you're going to get that type of production out of that supporting cast. Of course, they came in strong in game 1, but sometimes you see the injuries, and of course the intensity goes away from the opponent thinking, okay, we don't have to battle these guys.
Now, I know it's a championship series here, but the Lakers have been known for this year to sometimes take games off. And I'm not saying they're going to take the game off, but, they might not have their foot on the pedal. It might be close late, and they're going to have to turn it on at the end to get past this Miami Heat team that's definitely well coached, and I think they'll have a game plan tonight. All
right, guys, you can check Brian Bittler out over at Pick Dogs Premium. We're going to take a look at the action for tonight. Brian, what do you have going on at Pick Dogs?
I tell you what, I have an incredible side in that college football game tonight. Last year I hit 57% on the season of college football, number 1 on many different networks. This year so far, 59% on the year with profits close to $2,500. You know what? You can get a 3-day pass of me. Just $75. That gets you my college football play tonight. It gets you 5 college football plays tomorrow and 5 NFL for Sunday. So pick that up, pickdogs.com, premium pick section, 3-day pass.
All right, guys, check out Brian Bittler over at Pick Dogs Premium. Pick up one of those long-term passes from Brian. All right, Brian, it's always great having your show. Have a great night, and of course, we'll be listening to you in the morning on the morning show with Chris, Rod, and Mitch. I know it'll be an interesting show tomorrow with a lot of coverage, and I know you probably have to. Are you still covering the fights, UFC?
So, you know what? I kind of gave that up for a bit. But, now with sports with a little bit of a lull because of hockey, NBA going away, and baseball, I'm going to take a look back at UFC, especially on Saturday nights, and we're going to get back into that.
All right, Brian, we'll be taking a listen or watch tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. A big show tomorrow, Saturday, a lot of football coverage as well, and more. All right, Brian, have a great weekend, have a great night and weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
See you next time, Tony.
All right, our buddy Brian Bittler here on the drive-thru. All right, guys, as we reach the 15 minutes to the top of the hour, still a lot more coming. We have a lot more picks coming. We got college football picks. We got an NFL pick we'll be throwing in. But right now, well, it's time for our NASCAR segment, and we're going to bring in our NASCAR guy, Jeff Jeter, to the drive-thru. Jeff, how you doing there today?
Oh, doing great, Tony. Hope you're doing well this afternoon, and just ready for a big weekend here coming up with NASCAR, football, you name it. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, you talk about football. You've been doing really well with the football. I see you up there, and of course, we're going to just do a little recap in Las Vegas. I watched some of that race here with Kurt Busch getting the win in Vegas, now locked in the round of 8, as was a nice win for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was that Las Vegas race came down to something crazy we only see happen about 1 or 2 times a year outside of the Daytona and Talladegas and the road courses. That the strategy was. Just it worked out. The cautions fell right for Kurt Busch, along with the other guys that were, right behind him there in the top 10. And so I definitely didn't do too well. But hey, we got to hop back on the horse and get it going this week at Talladega.
Absolutely, they definitely have to do that. And of course, looking at Talladega, a lot of people call this a really unpredictable racetrack. But 2.66 miles, they can reach speeds up to 200 miles per hour. And of course, we always hear about drafting.
Yeah, you always hear about drafting or pack racing. The way the cars are set up to run this race, NASCAR puts a bunch of restrictions on each of the cars. So what happens is you'll have this big pack of racing. A lot of underfunded teams are going to have a chance to win. You're going to see some big prices this weekend. There's at least probably 25 guys out there that have a shot, maybe even 30. Have a shot to win this week, especially in the Cup Series. So,
all right, definitely, that's no doubt about that. And of course, I want to look at here at some of the contenders for the race on Sunday. We're looking at Eric Almirola, past 7 races at Talladega, 5 top 5 finishes. Ryan Blaney has had success over the track as well.
Yeah, I was looking at Ryan Blaney. I mean, obviously he won the Talladega race here back in June, and he missed the playoffs there after the Bristol cutoff, and he's got nothing to lose but to get in there and to go and have another good day. And so, and only for those Penske cars to have a really good day on Sunday. So that's the team I'm definitely eyeing. They're always good at Talladega and Daytona with these pack race cars. So, but anyway, so. And there's, like I said, a ton more. So
that's right. And anything in the Xfinity, I'll be looking at that.
Yeah, I'll be looking at the Xfinity Series. Be really focusing on it tomorrow morning there on the live show. Didn't want to plug it, but that's where I'm going to kind of focus on the Xfinity Series. But, obviously you're going to see some guys favored up at the top. But, again, same type of deal. The Xfinity Series, there's a lot of guys that could definitely win on Saturday afternoon. You got some big prices in there, so it's kind of good to go ahead. If you're going to take an outright shot in the Xfinity Series, maybe kind of spread your action out a little bit. I'm not saying put a bet on everybody in the field, but, you want to look around and kind of see who's maybe just go back and look at the last few races. And, of course, I'll have premium picks over there too.
All right, that's Jeff Jeter. You can find him over at Pig Dogs Premium. He sells the NASCAR Premium as well as football. He's sitting at the top of the leaderboards in NFL, but this is our NASCAR segment. Jeff, you're going to be taking a look here at the Truck Series head-to-head.
Yeah, so we're going to have a doubleheader tomorrow. The Truck Series will roll off first, 1 o'clock Eastern Time tomorrow afternoon at Talladega. And, again, all 3 series this weekend, you could throw a blanket over the field and probably pick a winner out. But, it's going to be a race where, we still got to look at some guys. There's still going to be some lower funded teams that'll probably have mechanical issues. But, when it comes to the big wreck that we always see at Talladega because they're running so close together, you can't predict how that wreck's going to go. You only know it's going to happen. So what I just look for is, to see who's been good at avoiding the wrecks and all that good stuff. Now, coming down to the Truck Series race, we have a very small sample size when it comes to it, especially this year. We've only raced at Daytona in the Truck Series, so this in 2020. So we've only got a 1-race sample size just for this year. But when it comes to it, a couple of guys I do like Grant Enfinger at plus 800. I think he's definitely got a good shot. He typically runs pretty good at Talladega as well as Daytona in these pack races. And so, definitely give a look over to Grant Enfinger. If you want a little bit of a long shot, don't mind Chandler Smith at plus 3,500 in the Kyle Busch Motorsports truck. Chandler I've looked back at the last 3 seasons with Kyle Busch Motorsports there and at Talladega in the last 3 races there. They've run very well outside of any big crashes that have happened, and so I think they've got some pretty good performance there. But as far as my pick goes for tomorrow, I'm definitely eyeing a head-to-head here between Zane Smith at minus 115. I like him over Sheldon Creed at minus 115. Sheldon Creed is sitting on the pole for tomorrow's race, but it doesn't even matter where you start this race. It only matters where you finish, because you could be sitting in 20th place and 2 laps later, you could be sitting up in, 5th place. So, but I do like Zane Smith over Sheldon Creed. Creed's done, both drivers have actually done very well this year, but as far as, back at the Daytona, but I definitely think this is a good shot for Zane Smith to get a win here on Saturday afternoon. So, or at least finish over Sheldon Creed in the matchup. So, but other than that, we'll have more coming to you this weekend on the live show as well as in the premium area.
That's right. So I want to let everybody know what you have going on at the premium area. We see over at Pig Dogs Premium, not only are you doing the NASCAR, and they can actually get in and get some of your football as well.
Oh, yeah, man. I've definitely got a ton of football coming to you this weekend as well. Going to have some college football out for you guys tomorrow, as well as the NFL on Sunday. Second right behind Mr. Ninos there on the leaderboard, but in the NFL. So, got off to a good start. So be sure to check it out. Got a bunch of stuff coming to you guys this weekend over in the premium area as far as football goes.
All right, so check him out. Check out Jeff Jeter over at Pig Dogs Premium. Jeff, is always great having your show. Have a great night. Yeah. We'll listen to your show with Mitch. You're going to be covering the Xfinity race?
Yeah, I'll be covering the Xfinity race tomorrow morning with Mitch and the Puck Dogs there on the live show on the Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Place channels there on YouTube quickly. And, of course, be back Sunday morning as well for the big race down in Talladega, the Yellowwood 500 for the NASCAR Cup Series cutoff race there. So, definitely look for a big weekend coming up. And, good luck, guys. Good luck in the NBA tonight, as well as college football and everything that's out there.
All right, that's Jeff Jeter. Guys, remember, Saturday, tune in 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll get to the Xfinity picks and, of course, the big race at Talladega first Sunday morning. All right, have a great night. We'll talk to you next week, Jeff.
Have a great night, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, our buddy Jeff Jeter here on the drive-through. As we continue, guys, we're approaching the top of the hour. We still have an NFL pick coming. We got the Louisiana Tech and BYU pick as well on the show. And, of course, we've got our Goran Kukar. We got a Premier League. We got actually 2 Premier picks. I'm getting another one from him. We've changed it up a little bit with Goran. He gives us the pick, and then I tell him to get. I give him an attractive matchup, and then he covers that one for us. So we'll get Goran on in just a second. Before we bring him on, I wanted to cover this Eagles and 49ers game. This is the one NFL game we haven't touched on the show this week, and I'm going to look here to go under 46. San Francisco's looked pretty strong defensively. I know it's the Jets and the Giants. They held them to 13 and 9 points, but they played well defensively. They're third in the league in total defense, allowed only one touchdown pass this season. And, of course, we know the 49ers are operating with a backup quarterback who looked good last week, facing a weaker defense than the Eagles. Of course, Carson Wentz has 3 touchdown passes, but 6 picks in 3 starts. But he's only averaging not much downfield passing, 4.6 yards per pass attempt. That Eagle defense is only allowing 3.5 yards a carry, so they're doing their job there. But the big thing here is the Eagles. They've just been hit hard with injuries again at the wide receiver position. So I think that's a big mess for the Eagles there. I think we're going to see the score production low for the Eagles here. I like the total here to go under total of 46 points. All right, continuing here on the drive-through, and now it's time to talk some Premier League soccer as we're going to go ahead and welcome into the pick into the drive-through is Goran Kuchar. Goran, how you doing today? We need to turn the mic on, my man. I think you have it on mute. We're not getting any sound from you, Goran. Let's see here. Maybe you got it on mute. Let's see here. Where is Goran? Let's see here. We are not getting much sound from you, Goran. Maybe you have it on mute. Will you check your sound for me? Your microphone is on here, but we don't have to. Why don't you do a sign off and sign back in again? Maybe we had some issue there. We had some issues there with Goran. We'll get Goran back on. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and go with college football. And I wanted to get you guys this game. And let's go ahead and go with my pick right now as Goran signs in and signs off. And we'll get to the Premier League segment after my pick. So here's my pick. College football, Louisiana Tech and BYU. The play here is going to be taking Louisiana Tech here at plus 24. The Bulldogs, after scoring 1 point road win at Southern Miss, blew out FCS school Houston Baptist. Louisiana Tech getting good production from transfer quarterback Luke Anthony. He's tossed 8 touchdowns with 1 pick, averaging 9.1 yards per attempt. Defensively, the team will hold in opponents to just 3.9 yards a run. Under head coach Skip Holtz, Louisiana Tech's covered 17 of 23 as a road underdog. There's stability in this program. Holtz has been around this program a long time, going on over 8 years. This will be the first big test for BYU. Numbers have been good now, but it's still a step up in class facing Louisiana Tech for this BYU team. Cougars covered only 4 of 13 last year. I think the number is just a little too big. I believe the Bulldogs generate enough offense to cover this big number. I'll take the 24.5 with Louisiana Tech, and that will be my pick over at, let me get it up here. That'll be my pick for today, and you can also find my plays over at Pig Dogs Premium, as well as we'll get the show pick here, and there we go. We're going to take Louisiana Tech Bulldogs plus the 24.5 against the BYU Cougars. I know some of the people in the chat room they've been pointing to that game as well. A lot of them like the points, and I'm with them too in the chat room. All right, let's give Goran a try. Goran, can we hear you now?
I hope so.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So Goran joins us back here. Let me go ahead and get you back on the camera here. We'll get Goran here. Tony Goran. All right, Goran. Let's before we get to your pick, a couple of things I wanted to cover with you here on this premier segment, the soccer segment. Of course, Leicester. This is a team that remains on top of the table. 3 wins in 3 games, and that +9 goal differential.
Yeah, Leicester has been crazy at the start of this season, and of course, Jamie Vardy scored already 5 goals in the first 3 games, and he's rushing towards that top goal scorer title once again.
Absolutely. And of course, we saw Liverpool and Everton each 9 points winning all 3 games. So they're another team that's been hot.
Yeah, Everton is actually, I'm not going to say it's surprising, but they have been playing some really good soccer, and I can see them contending for the Europa League this season.
All right. And of course, I want to get your thoughts. I watched this Manchester United and Brighton game, and it was what a game that was, right? So many scoring chances for this Brighton team. I don't want to call them a minnow. That's disrespecting the Premier League team. None of them are minnows. But, man, I just remember Brighton as a party school. I went there, party town. I went there over 20 years ago on vacation, and it was like maybe a 3rd division team. I mean, they've increased their level over the years. But a lot of scoring chances for Brighton. But Manchester United just seemed to do enough just to win this Neustadt League. I think they were just trying to conserve energy because, these teams, they play midweek games. But, man, Brighton finally gets the equalizer, and then right away they get the handball at the end, Brighton.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like last second penalty kick, and if we didn't have the video assistant referee, I don't think we would have seen that penalty kick.
Yes, I don't
They
think
got pretty lucky.
Yeah, they got pretty lucky with that one. And of course, the rules are, I mean, obviously the Brighton defender, usually I see the guys put their hands behind their back, but for some reason, the Brighton defender puts his hand up, and that's always a no-no. They're going to get you all the time, right?
Yeah, there's no way. Like, you are not getting that penalty only if the referee doesn't see it, but that one was like super obvious, and his hand was all the way up, and I don't care how close it was to the opponent, but that's a handball any day.
What's your thoughts with these defenders? That we see this a lot, I think, in the South American teams, but I don't know if we see this much in Europe, where the defenders put their hands, they wrap their hands around their back to avoid that. But some teams do, some teams don't.
Like, most of them do that, but when the cross is coming from the side, they are the first blockers or whatever. But if they jump, I don't think it's easy to put your arms behind your back and jump and go for the high ball, right? Yeah. So, but he could have controlled himself a little bit more and put at least the arm closer to his body, right?
Yeah, and once you put the arm up, it's all over. All bets are off. I mean, that's just,
yeah,
you cannot, that's you're not going to get that call, and that's the way soccer is played. I mean, I always fully understood the call, and even though it's not intentional, well, an American audience, when people see this, they think it didn't mean to do it, but you are not supposed to put your hands up. This is not the NBA. This is soccer. You don't put your hands
nobody
up.
wants to like play the ball with their hand like on purpose, so
Yeah, that would be the only reason for putting your hand up, right? Is to block the shot. That's where the rule is, and I understand that completely. But I want to go back to Manchester United. They just did not seem to be firing. Was it the fatigue? What was the issue with them? Because they looked listless on the field. They did not look like a good performance.
I don't know. They have been started their season slow for the last few years now, but I was expecting more, to be honest, especially the way they ended last season, and there wasn't a lot of break time in between, and I was hoping they would start a little faster, and especially because they have good strikers and everything. So, and the midfielders are like one of the best in the EPL, but I'm not sure what's happening with them.
All right, of course, we're joined here by Goran Kuchar, and we're going to get into his pick in a second. Guys, I wanted to get your thoughts on this Aston Villa team. They've only played 2 games, but so far 6 points.
Yeah, Aston Villa has been surprising, but they played against some weaker teams. They played against Fulham and Sheffield, so I don't think that's kind of the measuring point for them, and I don't think they'll stay close to the top for much longer. So I would take Liverpool and goals for, I think, plus 200 in this game any time of the day.
All right, of course, we had the Champions League draw. We won't go too deep into it, but just a broad brush stroke here. Goran, your thoughts here on the draw?
We have some pretty interesting group. I wouldn't say we have some kind of like super heavy group, but we have, of course, Messi against Ronaldo. That was maybe the strongest group we see now there. And I think Liverpool has pretty good chances to advance from the top spot in their group as well. All
right, Goran, we got a pick here from one game. You got 2 picks from one game. It's Leeds and Manchester City. We've seen Leeds put up some goals. How do you see this one?
Oh man, Leeds is playing wild soccer, high-paced soccer, and as we seen last week for Manchester City against Leicester, that is really not going well for them. They conceded 5 goals. They have a lot of injuries on the defensive end, and even though they score a lot of goals, they're struggling on the defensive end, and I think we are going to see a lot of goals in this game as well.
All right, so your pick on this one is going to be goals scored by Leeds and Manchester City over 2.5 goals at minus 150. And you believe that each team is at least going to score a goal in this game?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds scored 2 or maybe even 3 goals, because they have like pretty precise counterattacks. They're fast. And despite Manchester City's dominance in the midfield, and they are also creating a lot of chances, but I think Leeds will have a good time here in this match.
Leeds will have a good time in this match, says Goran. And your thoughts here on the way Leeds are? I know in American sports they call them sometimes offensive-minded defensemen. How do you measure the defense here for Leeds? Are they that type of team that focuses the defense basically focuses a lot on offense? How do you describe the defensive play here by a style for Leeds?
they might become a better defensive team as the season progresses, but as of right now, I don't see them as one of the best defensive teams. I see them closer to the bottom of the defensive uh, table as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Of course, that's Goran Kuchar here joining us on the drive-through. All right, Goran, we see over at Pig Dogs Premium, we got a big weekend of Premier League action as well as European soccer. What do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
Yeah, I'll have a weekend pass coming up a little bit later, and of course there'll be daily passes for Saturday and Sunday. We had a good day today, so everyone who bought my packages this week, they made money, and I hope we continue with the same pace.
All right, very good. And of course, I'm going to add a game here on our game discussion. We're going to add a Premier League game on our game discussion. So our discussion here for you, Goran, is Aston Villa and Liverpool. This one go on Sunday.
Yeah, like I said, Liverpool has got knocked out from the EFL Cup this week on the penalty kicks from against Arsenal, but that was like completely changed lineup and everything, so I'm not going to take that into consideration. And I've read today actually that Liverpool might be without Sadio Mane, who's apparently positive for the COVID, but they have enough depth, and I think they're going to win this game and score at least 3 goals in this game.
All right, says score at least 3 goals in this one here and win it, says Goran Kuchar. All right, Goran, as always, great having you on your show. We'll have a great weekend. Now, obviously, you do provide content for Sports Chat Plays. Why don't you let the viewers know where they can follow you there? Because there's games on Monday. We're going to start seeing some action during the week. What do we got going on over at Sports Chat Plays?
So yeah, we have a bunch of free picks on Sport Chat Plays for tomorrow and Sundays coming up, and of course next week we have the national teams back. We have the qualification players for the Euro Cup, and then we have Nations League as well.
All right, very good. All right, Goran, great having you on the show. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Have a great weekend, guys.
All right, everybody, Goran Kuchar here on the Drive-Thru Show. Guys, remember, we're here Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, giving you a lot of picks on the show. So be sure to subscribe and smash that like button because it will greatly help our audience grow when you do that. All right, let's go and do a review of the picks right now. We'll go and show you the show picks. And we've got Joe Duffy, who started it off with us here with taking the Vikings at plus 3.5 against the Texans. And, of course, Chris Ruffalo said take Auburn and Georgia under 44.5. Rod, in the baseball game, says the Cardinals and Padres over the total. It's now 9 runs, so I'm going to give them 9 runs because that's the current line. So we saw that move to the under. So take over 9 runs, says Rod. Brian, in the Virginia Clemson game, take the points plus 28.5. Of course, Jeff Jeter, NASCAR, the truck race tomorrow, head-to-head matchup. Zane Smith, minus 115 odds versus Sheldon Creed. Goran, who we just had on, and we still have on here, says take Leeds, Manchester City to go over 2.5 goals. That's at minus 150 odds. And he also says take both teams to score a goal at minus 150. So both teams to score there and the over in that one. And, of course, yours truly came in with Louisiana Tech plus 24.5 against BYU. Goran, you're still there, aren't you? I still you.
Yes, I am.
I'm going to ask you the same question. I always ask Mitch, since you're here. Other than your pick, which one up here do you like the best?
Ooh, you asked me a tough one. I'm not. I guess college football, I have no idea. NASCAR, even less. So I don't know what to tell you.
All right, there you go. We got an honest opinion from our soccer, and that's good because all Goran does is focus on English soccer. That's it. And there's enough there. How many leagues are there that you look? There's so many over there in Europe, right?
Oh, there's Bundesliga, there's Serie A, there's even the English Championship. That's their second division. They're crazy. They have 22 teams in the league, and there's at least 10 teams within 5 points at the end of the season. So that's crazy.
All right, that is crazy. So I'll tell you which one I like the best out of those. I like Rod's with the over and the Cardinals and Padres over 9. So I like that one. Other than my pick, I like Rod's pick the best. All right, so there's a lot of soccer out there, and no time for the other leagues. So there's so much going on. Of course, you got the national teams. You got these little tournaments, these cups that go in between. And as you said, when does Champions League begin?
Champions League begins at the start of November, I believe, after the Nations League is over.
After Nation League's over. All right, Gordon. All right, so that was our picks for today's show, guys. As we see, we do this Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Plays YouTube channel, as well as Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget, smash that like button. That helps our audience grow. We greatly appreciate that. Tomorrow morning and Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, it's the morning show. Mitch, Chris, Ron, Brian Bittler to break down all the action for Saturday college football. Sunday as well, NFL, coverage from NASCAR, coverage from the NBA, and of course, we look at first looks at some of these AL and NLDS series, maybe even touch base on some series odds until we get back to the action next week. All right, guys, I'm Tony T. It was a great, thanks for being with us today and this week. We'll see you guys Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and we will have my co-host return. It'll be Joe D'Amico and Dana Lane will be back with me next week. We'll talk to you guys